Alright, well, hey everyone, I'm going to do a bit of a review and walk around of the Harley-Davidson 883 Sportster. This is a bike I've rented from a place in Tokyo, take it for a bit of a trip. So, I'm going to check it out, see what it's like. We're actually up the top of Mt Fuji at the moment. No better place to be while trying to do this. So let's take a little bit of a look. Notice the bike is completely standard except for the ETC, which is the toll collector thing they put on. Other than that, bog standard. Dial itself, of course, in kph over here, and a couple of idiot warning lights there too. One thing which may be no surprise to Harley owners, but surprise to me having only owned a Honda in the past, no fuel meter. So I have no idea when this thing's going to conk out except for when the fuel light pipes up. Brakes on this thing at the front, just discs, which do a fair enough job. The bike is definitely more suited for touring, despite the Sportster name. Thrown it around a few of the corners. Have a look at what I had to get up to get here. You can imagine plenty of twisties. And unfortunately, the bike is not very confidence inspiring at all. It certainly does a much better job touring round than rather attacking corners. The sponginess is not something you need. Now to the engine itself. I didn't actually bother to check any specs on these, but it is fuel injected, I know that much. And while it is a baby engine, to be honest, I kind of expected a little bit more. The power itself is okay for what it is, but in stock standard form, it is leaving me wanting. Now the gearbox does a fair enough job, I guess. Although on the freeway, 80 kilometers an hour is the sweet spot, or a bit over 100 kilometers an hour is also fairly good. In between that though is a vibrating mess. So I either have to go too slow or a little bit too fast than I want and get the whole windsock effect, which isn't much fun. But sitting on 80, it does pair along quite nicely. So this being a Harley, you're not really racing the thing anyway, and 80 is about where you want to be. Now the rack is, according to the shop guy, not an official Harley part, but just something they got from somewhere. Looks like it'd suit fairly well for touring. Another thing about the gearbox, maybe this is news to Harley owners, maybe it's not. Neutral is a bitch to find. I'm spending about as much time at the lights waiting for the cars to go and for the signal to go green as I am trying to find neutral. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So that would drive me absolutely insane. You need a very light touch. Maybe it's something you get with experience, but experience is not something I have on this yet, having only just rented it today. The exhaust itself looks shiny and chrome, and the cover of it is, but underneath it looks to be steel. Still not a bad looking bike, And let's face it, I'm not gonna lie, I was riding down the freeway singing all the Harley anthems, Born to be Wild. I'm not ashamed. Bragging about this on Facebook is most of the reason I actually wrote it. Because you buy a Harley to be a Harley rider, you don't buy it or drive it to stop or steer. So there you have it, Harley-Davidson 883. Would I buy one? Nope. Would I rent one? I'd rent it once, which I did, and I'm having a fairly good time. Would I rent it again? Nah, I'd move on. The only other bike I have to compare it against that I've owned is a 400cc Honda SF, and it made me realize how good Hondas are. But that said, I did enjoy this bike so far. I'm going to enjoy it for another 2 days. So yeah, if you get a chance, do ride one and make up your own mind.